dude, you wanna know what song I've been fucking listening to on repeat?
Huh.
So last night I couldn't sleep. Well, I fell asleep at 8 p.m. and then I woke up at midnight and couldn't fall back asleep until 3 to 4 p.m. or 4 a.m. And I got a few more hours of sleep. You know what song for some reason was just hitting so good? And I hate that I listened to it probably 20 times. It was Hate Me by Blue October. I was like, that song is a bomb.
Yeah.
Dude, I listened to that song and I was just like, damn. Here I am.
I was up until god-awful hours and then only slept like 4.
Oh, man.
Been a fucking killer. But hey, welcome back, everyone. Another episode of True Crime Junks.
True Crime Junks.
Wes McBee.
Holly McBee.
Holly McGee.
Holly McGee.
And today we have a very interesting serial killer / con artist / Joseph Smith and con artist.
Con artist.
So
Murderer.
There's a lot of unpacking to do with this gentleman. I mean, if you know what the murder castle is, you kind of already know who we're talking about. Up to about 50 lawsuits in Chicago near the time of his death, and suspected of 200 plus murders. And then he was lightly portrayed by the man, Evan Peters, who everyone is in love with.
American Horror Story. Was it called Murder Hotel? Was that the season called?
I think it was just called Hotel.
I think it was just called Hotel. Yeah. Because the thing is, it was based off of the Murder Hotel we'll get into in a little bit.
Yeah.
And
then he played our subject today, Herman Webster Mudgett. Better known as Dr. Henry Howard Holmes, better known as H.H. Holmes. I didn't realize that his name was fucking Herman. To me, that's not
Herman.
If a guy named Herman came up and was like, hey, listen, you should try this insurance fraud with me, I'd be like, shut the fuck up, Herman.
Fuck up, Herman.
I don't even want to hear you talk.
Sorry, I'm really listening. I'm just trying to do how to post it on my socials.
Yeah.
I will do better next time. Anyway, since we'll be doing this next week as well.
Valentine's Day special.
But yes, Herman. Fucking Herman. Also, for some reason, his last name being Holmes just weirds me out because I always think of Sherlock Holmes.
Yeah.
But this is Sherlock Holmes, but murder.
Yeah, he is the Sherlock Holmes, just the opposite side of the spectrum, because he was super smart. Weird how that is a trend. The other weird thing about this one is I think he's going to be our oldest one that we've covered so far, right? As far as when it occurred, because this was in the late 1800s, where everyone else we've covered has been
modern century kind of. Or at least the last 50 years.
Because the oldest one prior to that was probably Mary Bell.
Oh yeah, Mary Bell. She was, because she was during the Great Depression.
Yeah.
So this one would be then the oldest one. Because then after that it was
I know Gacy was born in the 40s.
Same with
Golden State.
I think Golden State might have been a little bit. No, because they were all in the 70s when the crime happened.
Yeah, I think the crimes for Golden State were the 50s and 60s. Richard Ramirez was the 70s.
Maybe,
I think Mary Bell was the...
She was the second. She was the oldest. Well, it was funny because she was the oldest, period, but also the youngest serial killer. That's pretty funny.
But as we know, if you go back and listen to Mary Bell's episode, I've thought about it more. I really don't consider her a serial killer.
No, I think honestly she just got the name 11-year-old serial killer because it was a good tabloid.
Yeah.
Listen, 11-year-old serial killer, that's the only reason why we did it, is because it sounded fucking wild.
Yeah.
And then you realize, oh no, she killed 2 boys.
Yeah.
And they were fucked up. But
if you listen to her story, you're going to be like, yeah, I probably would have murdered at 8 too, because I don't fucking know, or 11. I don't know any better.
Yeah.
Her situation was fucked.
Fucked.
More fucked than I think anyone else we've covered. Oh. If she didn't get caught when she was 11, though, that could have been...
Yeah, that would have been
That could have been one of those ones where she became a notorious, hundreds and hundreds of serial killers.
That would be badass.
Yeah.
Because the thing is, too, since her mom was a prostitute and then made her a prostitute at the young age of 5.
Mm-hmm.
She already knew how. She probably could have figured out how to work the game instantly.
Oh, for
been
sure.
Notorious. Luckily, she turned out for the better. But
yeah,
we're not here to talk about her, Mary Bell. We're here to talk about H.H. Holmes, which I do have a joke. Well, I had a joke. It didn't really work out because I was like, "What's a good one?" Because I was going to do like play on his names. So I was like, humongous, hoggish, homewrecker. But I was like,
I like that.
It's so hard with so many H's, so I made a haiku.
Oh, your haikus are always
My
great.
haikus are on fucking point.
Yeah.
So this haiku is about the murder hotel. Rooms clean and tidy. Man got bitches in the wall. Or got bitches, in walls. Let's stay there again.
I like that. 10 out of 10. I'm gonna turn on a backlight. What color do you want?
Do blue. I'm feeling blue today. Not like in a sad way, but just like a vibe. Look at us. I think because I like her shirt. I want to do part of their Valentine's episode off of my shirt. I'm just not gonna wear it again next week. It's a Black Dahlia Murder shirt, but
that's dope.
based off of a song called what is it called? Oh my god, Death Mass Divine. Death Mass Divine, which is about this fucking wild scientist. And it's a kind of a love story, so I want to talk about it next time.
Is that Valentine murder movie based off a real event? You seen that one where they remade it and the dude like wears like a gas mask?
Oh, My Bloody Valentine.
Yeah, is that based off a real event?
I want to say it's loosely based off of it because it sounded really familiar. Excuse me. I can't remember.
I'll research that one too.
We'll research it because next time we won't have a particular one. We'll just have like a bunch of little ones.
I'm actually really excited because I feel like once we dive into like finding shit that's related around Valentine's, we might find some fucked.
I'm really excited
stuff.
considering I'm single on Valentine's Day.
Woo, woo, woo.
I really don't care. Valentine's Day is just such a Hallmark holiday. It's not even like a real thing.
I won't lie. I liked being single on Valentine's Day because like the day after Valentine's, you just go snag up those sales on candy and then you have a great day.
Yeah. See, the thing is, like, I don't know what it says about me as a girlfriend. If your logic is, hey, babe, I can either buy you a candy now or 10 candies the day after Valentine's Day, what would you prefer? I'd be like, fucking give me 10 candies. Yeah. I know how to work the system.
How many peeps can I eat in one sitting? We're going to find out the day after Valentine's.
We will find out soon enough. Let's see how my cholesterol goes. My blood sugar.
That was one of those ones where, like, as a kid, I remember Peeps, and I'm like, God, I fucking loved Peeps. And then, like, as an adult, I went and bought a pack, like, a year ago, and I had one, and I'm like, this is fucking disgusting.
There's so much fucking sugar.
Oh, you can't. There's no flavor. It is literally just chewing sugar.
Yeah, I used to like to roast Peeps a lot.
I never thought about that.
I did that. Or Starburst is a really good one.
Starburst?
Starburst, but you gotta be careful because it makes it really soft and gooey. But you gotta be careful because you have to wait for it to cool down. Mm-hmm. And my dumbass was roasting one and saw it was falling off the thing. So, of course, I went to catch it, and then I had a perfect Starburst in my hand. A perfect square. And I was like, well, that's my story. I still ended up dropping it because it's so fucking hot. Because it's just boiling sugar in your hand at that point.
The other one that's a bummer is, like, the candy corn and, like, little pumpkin sugars. I remember liking those a lot as a kid.
Yeah.
Not great as an adult.
I haven't had them in so long. Bella loves them to this day.
I had one last year for Halloween, the little pumpkins, because I was like,
ooh.
I saw them at the store. I'm like, man, I haven't had these since I was a kid. It hurt my teeth to eat them because there's so much fucking just. It's literally just a pumpkin sugar.
Yeah, it's just pumpkin sugar.
Anyways,
Ed Holmes, not Ed Holmes, H.H. Holmes.
Easy to mess that up because when I was doing my research, it took me 30 minutes to realize that I'm not supposed to be researching Ed Holmes, who's a fucking actor.
I know. Is he the actor from the Hangover?
Yeah. Yeah.
I think that's why I kept saying Ed Holmes. Because I fucking love the Hangover.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. That's what I fucking will watch that shit daily.
Fun fact: Hangover's better than Step Brothers. Come at me.
Oh no, I agree.
Yeah, I get so much shit for that usually.
I think it's because I watched the Hangovers first, and I didn't watch Step Brothers until later, so I don't feel like I had that sentimentalness, but I had the sentimental of remembering when Hangover first came out and watching all three of them come out.
They all came out the same time when I was like in like 7th to 9th grade, and like for me, I always thought that I was a little bit like my comedy was a little bit more evolved because like I watched a lot of stand up already.
Oh,
so like shit had to be really funny. Not that Step Brothers isn't.
No, it's funny.
But Hangover was like
it was top
primo jokes.
It was, especially with Alan.
Yeah, where Step Brother had like really good jokes, but it was kind of more slapstick. Like I'm gonna put my balls on your drum set. Like funny scenes, but not as like smart humor.
Yeah, it wasn't as I don't want to say intricate, but like kind of intricate. Yeah. Both great movies. Not even going to compare them, but I get what you mean. Yeah. I would watch Hangover more than Step Brothers.
Hangover just has those one-liners that just like they're just so real that like someone would probably say that to you in real life. Like the scene where they are showing those kids like in the room, and he's like, "Not you, fat Jesus, slide it on back." I'm like, just like such a small line kills.
Dude, fucking right. Also, like I always thought like. You know when you watch a movie and you're like, I'm probably like more of that character. The older I get, the more I'm like, oh, I really thought I was Bradley Cooper's character. And then I'm like, no, I'm definitely Alan.
I'm Doug.
I'm Doug.
I'm gonna fuck up. I'm gonna get fucked up and then end up somewhere I'm not supposed to be.
And then they find you and you're like, what's up, guys?
Yeah. Hey, if you know some of my old stories, that's why I always say I'm Doug.
That makes a lot of sense.
No.
Anyways, so Holmes, or when he was born as Herman Webster Mudgett?
Yeah.
Mudgett? He was born in Gilmanton? Well, New Hampshire, nevertheless. May 16th, 1861. Mm-hmm. Which is really weird to think. To some people, they were both actually descendants of first immigrants in their area. First English immigrants. Let's see. He didn't really have a whole lot, but he did have an older sister, an older brother, and then a younger brother and a younger sister. So a really big family. They were a farmer's family. His dad was consistently worked on the farm, was a trader. Not to the country, just with goods.
Researching him, I had to really put myself in a different perspective because we're talking, late 1800s. So their family owned a farm, and they were doing like, we're not far off from being a new country.
Yeah.
The type of farm work they were doing was like, let's survive, not like profiting farm work.
Yeah, like oh, dude, even watching, what was it, like The Devil in Me, that new Tom Holland and
yeah.
That new movie, like, because, like, that one was set place in, like, I want to say, like, the 40s, because it was right after World War II, and it's, like, there's still, like, people that were living off of farms, and, like, that's how they made their food and survived the winter. I
try to put myself in, like, the same mindset that The Witch is in.
Yeah, The Witch.
Because I believe that was in the late 1800s, right?
No, that was early 1800, because that was during the Salem witch trials.
Oh, okay. Well, still, like...
But I get what you mean.
Yeah.
And, like, it literally, like, just how time progressed, because then once you had the Industrial Revolution, that's when everything started.
Yeah.
That's why we are where we are. Anyways, they were devout Methodists, but considering during that time, killers were just, like, people who were not even really talked about.
Yeah, I mean, like, there was no crime, like... There was police and crime work, but there wasn't the...
Like, if you got murdered and you left town and you just went to the next town over, if they didn't know you committed the murder, you're fine for the rest of your life.
Yeah, there's no computers, there's not even, like...
I mean,
I'm sure people kept records, but it wasn't like, hey, yo, do you guys know this Herbert dude? Like...
Unless you were going to go into every single precinct and scour every single one of their records. There's no way you can track things back then.
Yeah.
As well as you do now. But, anyways, there's not a lot on his childhood, mostly because,
it's the 1800s.
It's 1860s, 1800s. But they did have then looked back on people like giving witnesses on how his childhood was, and he did have a ton of telltale signs that we have now on future serial killers, because he would torture and kill animals.
Yeah.
He did have a lot of abuse from his father.
No. And keep in mind, when you think about abuse in that time period, like, Your father beating the shit out of you was probably just like, that happened.
That was a Saturday afternoon.
Yeah, that was like...
That was probably like, what'd you do to deserve it kind of attitude. But at the same time, there's really not like any key evidence. So like, yes, we'll say a lot of hearsay in this podcast because a lot of it is hard to prove. But yeah, so basically, like, they think that... Yeah,
H.H. Holmes, as interesting of as a person as he is, it's really hard to know all the details because, like, you know, when the murder castle thing happened, like, there's lots of records on that, and they're even still documented to this day.
Yeah.
Like, there's information on that, but, like, as far as his childhood, like, his family, they weren't anyone of importance. He wasn't anyone of importance until he became an infamous serial killer. So it wasn't like they were documenting, you know, there wasn't like, we had John Wayne Gacy shit, like, documented early on.
Oh, yeah, like, we had his documented early on, and then we had him documented on everywhere he went, every fucking political party he went to, everywhere he... Yeah, so we just don't have as much information. But at the age of 16, he graduated Phillips Exeter Academy and took teaching jobs. And then he got married, had a kid... Excuse me. He got married, had a kid February 3rd, 1880. But yeah, he was just mostly a teacher. He lived a basic ass life until his real adulthood.
Yeah, and what's interesting is, like a lot of serial killers, and this is the trend that we're trying to formulate here on True Crime Junks.
Yeah, it just
very intelligent.
Very smart.
Like, I think the only person aside from, like, Mary Bell and Richard Ramirez, everyone else has had either high IQs, educated, or just, like, a weird ability to control people, kind of like Elizabeth Smart's kidnapper. Yeah. You know, like, everyone has these weird characteristics that kind of flow through each other. I mean, we all know Bundy and how smart he was.
Fucking right.
Kemper was a graduate. Yeah. You know, Gacy was a graduate.
He was a
Golden State Killer was a graduate. And guess what? H.H. Holmes
was a graduate.
Was a graduate. So at the age of 18, he enrolled at the University of Vermont, where I guess he just felt like he was too smart for them. Is the best way to put it. He wasn't satisfied with their teachings. Now, granted, in the 1800s, university's still pretty new.
Yeah.
I could kind of see, you know, if he felt like he was already above them in some sort of way.
Because you gotta think that during this time, too, only men were teaching men.
Yes. So he decided to leave the University of Vermont and go and attend the University of Michigan's Department of Medicine and Surgery, where he graduated in June of 1884. So that's putting him about 21, 22 years old. But while he was enrolled at the University of Michigan's Department of Medicine and Surgery, he worked in the anatomy lab, which is actually a really interesting tie-in later on. And later, after working in the anatomy lab, later on he became an apprentice for an individual named Noam. I don't know how to pronounce it. It's Nahum White, who was a noted advocate for human dissection. So, I mean, it's pretty much implied that he was dissecting cadavers in this apprenticeship, and that does play a huge role later on in the grand scheme of who H.H. Holmes is. This whole time, and this is a little keynote, when he got caught, he admitted to running an insurance fraud using cadavers to defraud life insurance companies while he was in college in that anatomy lab and human dissection class. Well, I guess not class, apprenticeship. So he was butchering up people and claiming that fake life insurance frauds. Yes. Which is just crazy. A little bit on his life, though. There are claims that Holmes was violent towards his wife. It, like we've talked about before, it's tough because we can't prove anything.
No, and the thing is with Holmes that's really extra hard is that, like, we fucking know nothing about this man. Yeah. Honestly. But
at least the early age.
Yeah, the early ages. We'll soon find out.
So his wife actually ended up moving back to her hometown before Holmes graduated. Yeah. And she later wrote in, like, I don't know if someone asked her when Holmes got caught, like, what she knew about him. She said that after she left, during that time period, she never really heard from him again.
Yeah, which is wild because, like, they had a kid together.
Yeah, they had a kid together. A weird random fact that happened during this time is Holmes was seen with a little boy who later disappeared when he moved to New York. And Holmes claimed at the time that little boy went back to Massachusetts. They don't know if it was his son at the time or if it was, like, a different boy. But this was, like, an article that, like, there was a missing boy and people saw Holmes with him. So they can't really prove that maybe that was, like, a first, like, potential murder victim or kidnapping victim. But it was on record that a child was missing and that child was seen with Holmes at some point. Yeah. Which is a little sketchy. There was no investigations that took place in that with that boy, but Holmes did leave New York swiftly after he got talked to about that. So, you know, that could be looked at in a certain type of way if you really want to. Yeah.
Wait, because was that the one where? Because there is he had, like, also a murder house where he suspected to kill a 9-year-old boy. Yeah. And was that is that the house you're?
Different one.
Different. Because the thing is, this man, they're theorizing that he killed up to 200 plus people. Yeah. That we know of. Anyways, keep going.
Yeah, no, his record, I mean, it gets fucking insane, and this is why, I mean, even American Horror Story wanted to cover this in their way. The hardest part about H.H. Holmes as a whole is how many times he bounced around. And that is due to the fact that he was a con man. So, and back in the time, it was very typical for con men to go to a city or a town, cause some shit, you know, make some money off some people who just don't understand, and then just dip. Because, like, once your name gets out and your face gets out, people are obviously going to know, like, oh, don't fucking talk to that guy. He's a con man. Yeah. Joseph Smith. And then, I don't know. Where everything took place that we know of for sure was Chicago. Now, there is one big moment that happened prior to him going to Chicago that is on record. And what that is he stopped in Philadelphia where he had a couple different jobs, and one specifically at a drugstore, which is important because later on he does start working at another drugstore. He didn't stay long there, though, due to a death of a child. So apparently this child had died from taking medicine that Holmes had prescribed. He denied involvement. He said that it was like the kid was sick. Like, I tried to help him.
You're like, what am I supposed to do?
And then he immediately left.
That's sus as fuck.
That's sus as fuck, you know, if you really
didn't do anything while you running.
Right. Yeah. And now everything up to this point, the death of the child at the drugstore, you know, the missing kid, all of his cons and stuff, at this point he was known as Herman Mudgett or Mugit, whatever you want to pronounce it. Yeah. Well, after leaving Philadelphia and right before he shows up to Chicago where the infamy is, he changed his name, and that's where he changed his name to Henry Howard Holmes. And that was to avoid anyone exposing him of his previous scams. Like any victims potentially being like, hey, I know who Herbert is. Yeah. So he knew he was a shitty guy. So he changed his name. And then there was another weird, interesting thing. A lot of people say that Holmes was a polygamist, but I don't know. I wouldn't call him. I don't think he wanted to marry all these wives to be like, hey, I want a bunch of wives. Yeah. He did it for scams, which I'll explain later on. But he, at one particular time, was married to 3 people at once. One being his original wife, because he never took the time to get
Divorce.
a proper divorce. The second one was his new wife, who he ends up having a daughter with, and they were just kind of long-term married. And then he also, through one of his ventures, at a point married a third wife in Colorado.
Yeah.
So he did have multiple wives, but I don't think it's, the same type of thing as like, a true polygamist wanting to have multiple wives to,
have one marriage, like one family.
Yeah.
Multiple marriages, one family.
They never knew about each other, from my understanding.
So it just sounded like he had a bunch of mistresses.
Yes, he did have a lot of mistresses. You can see the pictures over Holly's head. For the time being, he's not an unattractive gentleman.
No.
I'm sure that mustache back in the day was a very killer look with the bowler cap.
Oh yeah, dude, with the mutton chops.
Not a bad looking dude for the time, I would imagine.
Oh, not at all.
Now, showing up in Chicago, this is where everything takes a turn for the crazy.
Mm-hmm.
The murder castle.
Is
what its claim to fame is.
Yeah.
So Holmes had arrived in Chicago in 1886, and he found a drugstore by the name of Elizabeth S. Holton's Drugstore. I mean, that fun history fact, it's still kind of there. Not a drugstore anymore, but you can still go there.
Yeah.
Which would be cool. And same with the murder castle. The murder castle caught on fire, but they saved some of it and repurposed it, and now I think it's a library or something along those lines. So the buildings are still somewhat there.
I think you can still live in it.
Yeah.
Because the only reason why I bring that up, because I was going to bring this up at the end, but I think it's so fucking funny. I'm going to bring it up now. Ghost Adventures did an episode of going to Ed Holmes' murder house.
H.H. Holmes.
H.H. No,
yeah.
I'm so sorry. Ed Holmes.
I did it. Yeah, it's okay.
I'm so sorry. H.H. Holmes' murder house. And I swear to fucking God, the woman that was living there was into, I guess is it age play? Where she dressed up as like a baby, basically.
Oh.
Like her whole room. Like it was so fucking funny. Because you've seen Ghost Adventures.
Oh yeah, I love it.
Fucking goons.
Yeah.
Up the wazoo. And then they go to this woman's house.
And she was doing...
And she just straight up was just like, there was like a adult-sized crib. She was dressed as a child.
Why did they interview her?
The thing, because she lives there, so technically they had to. She lives in that house, and like, because it was like where he killed a 9-year-old boy, and she believes that the boy is, and like Holmes is like kind of like
in there
mostly, but I mean Holmes wouldn't be in there technically if that's how ghosts work, because he got murdered. His downfall was somewhere else, but they think that like the little boy was haunting it, because she was like vulnerable to possession, especially because she acted like a child. It would be easy for her to get possessed by a child technically.
I'm gonna have to go watch this interview.
It is so good because they also did, it was because this wasn't part of it was kind of part of Ghost Adventures, but it was part of like they had like a serial killer part where they did also they did the Bundy house in Utah.
Yeah, I saw that one.
They also did Gacy's prison.
Shout out to an episode of Top Shelvers podcast I just did last night. The guest was there and met Zach Bagans when they did the Viewmont house.
That's fucking badass.
I wish I would have known, because I would go immediately to Baby Gap and buy the smallest shirt and show up and shake his hand. So,
I would, dude.
Smallest black T-shirt that exists.
After the podcast is done, I made because on TikTok you can make those like that video into like a live picture for your iPhones. I made a TikTok that was a compilation of Zach Bagans. And they're all like thirst traps, and so now I had it as my wallpaper for the longest time. And the guy I was seeing at the time, he's like, "Who is this?" I was like, "Zach Bagans from Ghost Adventures." And
I would have looked at him and be like, "Who are you, uncultured?"
I literally was like, "Zach Bagans from Ghost Adventures." He's like, "Oh, do you like him or something? Like, is he good?" And I'm like,
Daddy Zach
with the Ghost Adventures."
Yeah.
I was listening to this other podcast. A girl, one of the guys that was doing the podcast, got to met a girl who had sex with Zach Bagans, and apparently was like one of the weirdest ways. She DMs him on Instagram. Is like, "Hey, I come to Vegas all the time. Can I come over? Like, can I see your house?" Like, DMs him. He says yes.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So she goes to this guy's house, and apparently how it was set up was when you first walk in, there was like a seating room.
Okay.
And then they sat there, they chit-chatted, and then once like enough time has passed and they were still talking, he then took her to a bigger room, like kind of getting her more into the house. Apparently, like, she had to go through like 3 stages of like talking to him, listening to him fucking go on about himself. Then she got laid. And she said it was fucking wild. She's like, honestly, best decision only because I had that experience. But apparently
so
he was just like such a weirdo that like he was nervous that she was like using him to see, and she got to see some of the stuff in his house.
That would be so cool.
But anyway, so yeah, Ed Holmes had this murder castle, murder hotel, but they call it the murder castle.
See, I don't know if the 9-year-old thing is the same thing as the murder castle, because the murder castle. The murder castle was it started off as a 2-story building, ended up being a 3-story building where the bottom was like retail stores. The second floor was places you could rent out and live. And then he added a 3rd floor for the World Fair thing that came through and rent them out as hotel spaces.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's the same thing.
I can't tell either because like...
That's the problem with H.H. Holmes in general trying to research him is there's so many stories that are one-offs because he went so many places and caused so many problems.
So many problems because some people call it a house, some people call it a hotel, some people call it a castle, some people call it this.
Yeah.
So like, is it all one and the same thing or is it all different things? Because I know at that time they had a lot of like, the bottom floor was shopping and then the top floor was living, but it's just like, you know, it was hard. But the biggest thing is when he built it or like did things, he made things so it didn't fucking add up. It had one too many chimneys. It had too many staircases.
Oh, there's a lot of more to it than
there's so much that happened in the house.
So to get back to where we were, where he was at with his situation, so he got hired on at this drugstore, and actually proved to be a really great employee. And the time frame were a little iffy on as far as how long he worked for them, but he ended up purchasing that drugstore from them. Now there is theories that he murdered these 2 people, the 2 owners. That is false, from my understanding. They have proven that they are both buried somewhere and the corpses are in there, and it wasn't H.H. Holmes disposing of them. And that's also like the crazy thing about H.H. Holmes is there's so many myths and legends. Like some people think that he may have been Jack the Ripper.
Yeah.
Most likely, it's like 99.9% sure that's false, but people like to kind of fantasize that it's a possibility.
See, I think the issue is too with like Jack the Ripper, H.H. Holmes, and like the Zodiac Killer. I think like honestly, all 3 of them could have been pinned for the same murder, and everyone's like, it could have been all 3 of them at once, just because of like how much they were killing during that time. It's like, how do you differentiate?
What if they had like a triad, like mail listing where they were all talking to each other?
They like, the Zodiac Killer sends a message, someone messes back saying, fucking asshole, make sure you send the description.
Yeah.
That'd be so funny.
We do need to do a Zodiac Killer episode at some point, just because it's so fascinating. I mean, it's still unsolved, and you know, not that we're gonna have any new information, but it's still an interesting one.
It's badass.
So he purchased the store, and this is where things kind of started getting interesting. He ran that store for a little while, but he decided to buy a plot of land across the street and started construction on it. And it was, at first, like I said, 2-story building that turned into 3 stories. First floor retail, second floor was apartments, and they added the third floor to be a hotel during the World's Columbian thing where a bunch of outsiders come in, and it's like a fair in a way. But the hotel part actually never got finished. And this is where, you know, some people who love American Horror Story get, you know, a little bit too into the fantasy world of things. Like, the hotel part never got finished, and that's due to H.H. Holmes being a con man. He was like stealing equipment that was on there, like the construction people's equipment, like not paying bills, claiming that shit was fucked up. And at a certain point, they were like, "Hey, well, fuck you, dude. We're not gonna do it.
Yeah, we're just done then."
Now, the crazy part about this, they call it the murder castle for multiple reasons. Obviously, it's a big 3-story building, but they say it was like a fucking maze. There was secret passages, hallways leading to absolutely nothing, soundproofed rooms. Why? I don't know. I don't think he was recording music back in the day.
No.
And this is the part where you really realize how scary it was.
Yeah.
Many of the rooms had chutes that would drop straight down to the basement, kind of like, a laundry chute.
Yeah.
But that's where Holmes had acid vats, quicklime, and crematorium to dispose of victims' bodies.
He had a method.
Yes, and a very successful one at that. And it gets even more crazy.
Yeah.
Now, everyone wants to know about the killings. It's very convoluted. There was potentially so many of them, and we can't really put a number or a lot of specifics. Like, there's specific ones we know about, like a couple of his first victims and the one that he got tried on. But between the first victim and the one that he got tried on, we don't know how many there were, but the number of possibility is 200 plus.
Yeah. The only confirmed are 9. 27 confessed, and then God knows.
He confessed to 27. He got tried for just 1.
Yeah.
And they put him to death.
Yeah.
Which, that's some 1800s mentality.
Yeah,
sure.
it is.
Now, the murder that he was convicted for was actually one of his business accomplices, Benjamin Pitzel, which I'll get into a little bit more later. They ran scams together, and they had a great end-all, be-all scam that actually would have worked out if H.H. Holmes kind of would not talk so much. But this is the part that's so scary.
Yes.
So H.H. Holmes, being a wonderful entrepreneur and intelligent man, and having a background in cadavery, I don't know what you want to call that word, dissections and different things like that, he had a quote-unquote plug, for making it new 2021 words, someone who would buy human remains for researching, and specifically bones. So what the plan, or what happened was people would go and rent out these apartments or rooms at this murder castle. Holmes would kill them, send them down to his crematoria area, butcher, get rid of all the, skin, blood, organs in his like crematory fire stuff, and then sell the bones. Yeah. So he was making a lot of money off of his murders. Mm-hmm. And the only reason we prove this is this motherfucker had the audacity to hire assistants who would go down there and clean these bodies out. And they thought it was just like he's a doctor. He is a doctor. They just thought that this was like some weird scientific medical research that like these bodies had passed away naturally. God damn it. And that they were doing this for medical research. Yeah. He's got a big brain.
Yeah, big brain moves.
Big brain moves.
Definitely not smooth brain.
No, he not at all. He had no 100 grit smooth brain at all. Now, this is kind of where the downfall started. When the World Fair thing came into Chicago and left, the economy pretty much collapsed in a way, because that's usually what happens when a big event comes, it bolsters it huge, everyone makes a bunch of money, and then it kind of crumbles. Yeah. So this is when he decided to dip out of town with his homie Benjamin, and they started running insurance claims. And this is a long, drawn-out thing that ended up getting him caught. But so it started with, he found himself in Texas with Benjamin. They stole some horses, shipped it to St. Louis, sold them, and made apparently a fortune. I don't know why. I don't know how. But he got caught and put into jail. Yeah. While in jail, he came up with this amazing insurance scam with a cellmate named Marion Hedgepeth. Holmes says what he was going to do is take out an insurance policy for $10,000, which in today's time is like $750,000 or something like that. A lot of money. 10 grand was a fucking like, hey, we're going to take over the world with this type of money. Yeah. So he was going to fake his own death and then provide Hedgepeth $500, which is a lot of fucking money at the time, in exchange for a lawyer so he could help him. He was going to fake his death, and then Marion was going to get the insurance money off of his death. And since H.H. Holmes had a lot of money, the insurance thing would be a fuck ton of money.
Yeah.
Well, the insurance people didn't believe him. He got out of jail. He attempted the plan. The insurance companies were suspicious, and they didn't pay him. So Holmes decided to attempt a similar plan in Philadelphia, and this time with his homie Benjamin. Problem is, instead of Benjamin faking his own death, Holmes just killed him.
Yeah.
Holmes just killed him. So what ended up happening is Holmes collected the money. He got a fuck ton of money. He would have gotten away with this if Marion was not pissed the fuck off that he didn't get his money. So what happened is Marion went and snitched. Snitches get stitches. He went to the police, told them of Holmes's plan, and said, "Hey, listen,
this was about to happen.
We were gonna fake my death. He was gonna fake his death, make this whole bunch of money. It's fucked up. You should go look into him." So they did. They finally caught up to Holmes, who was in Boston and apparently planning to leave the country.
Oh, damn, dude.
So, like, we're talking, he was potentially months away from getting away with everything, dipping out of the country. Okay. So they caught up with him, and they were like, oh, this is super suspicious. So they started investigating deeper. That's when they looked into the murder castle in Chicago and found this whole entire setup of murdering and disposing bodies. But the problem was he was so fucking good at disposing the bodies, they couldn't really prove anything. Yeah. There were the story goes that there was body parts and shit just everywhere. Yeah. Like it was a fucking murder house.
Yeah.
But they couldn't, there was not enough to prove how many people or who they were.
Oh, yeah.
But they started spreading their search to obviously all of his places in Chicago, Indianapolis, where he spent time, and then Toronto. And while conducting their investigation in Toronto, police discovered the bodies of his assist or his asylum or whatever the word is, his co-scammer, the body of his kids who had gone missing sometime during Holmes's insurance fraud spree. So then they were able to link Holmes to their murders, and then police arrested him, and he was convicted of their murders and obviously the murder of Benjamin. Yeah. He confessed to 28 other murders. However, through the investigations and missing person reports, it is believed that that number, like we've said, 200 plus.
Easily.
And then on May of 1896, so right before the turn of the century, being one of America's first serial killers that we can document, H.H. Holmes was hanged, and the castle was remodeled as an attraction named the Holmes Horror Castle, but apparently it caught on fire and burned to the ground shortly after opening. But I believe there's still chunks of the building that are up, and they remodeled it into something for the public.
So that's why with the whole Ghost Adventures thing, I'd have to do more research. Like, I have to rewatch the first bit to like exactly understand if the whole the home they're talking about was like the remnants like that they rebuilt from the hotel. Was it like a building that was built on top of it and like kind of like not retro like in honor, but like in like a, oh, this was what H.H. Holmes doing, you know. I'd have to do more research, but still fucking watching Ghost Adventures. That fucking show is lit.
I love Ghost Adventures.
I love that show.
I'm bummed, though, because I'll be honest with you, the first, 3 or 4 seasons, I believe they were super passionate about ghosts and really believed that there was paranormal shit going on.
Yeah.
Because their first video, that they caught on camera in that one building where the brick flies.
Oh, yeah.
That's, substantial evidence that something paranormal could be going on in our world.
Yeah.
But the later episodes, you could tell that the money was really good and... They really started stretching.
Yeah, they really stretched it out. Because the thing is, you can only do so much. Because, the thing is, I don't know if I really believe in ghosts. It's a little bit of a weird thing to think.
Feel you.
It's a weird one. I'd have to see it for myself. I've never had any paranormal experiences. That's why I have a hard time believing in it. But with that being said, it does scare the shit out of me to think about. Any paranormal movies scare the fuck out of me.
I broke this out yesterday for one of my podcasts. I guess this could be fun for the true crime drunks. This is a Dybbuk box that I bought that was supposed to be haunted. There's a video on youtube.com/topshelfers if you guys want to go watch me and a couple of my buddies open it. It's creepy.
That's poopy. Spooky, not poopy.
Spoopy.
That's poopy.
Now, as far as H.H. Holmes, like turning point and stuff like that, it's really tough to say. I think that he was just a con man at heart, and morals were different.
Yeah, I think it's just there's no like one thing that made him who he was. He was just that way. I think just the timing, the people, the decade. I
think he was just generally one of those persons that like he would do whatever it takes to make $1.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. I don't even know like pleasure-wise if he got anything out of killing people, unless it was just like I can do it. You know? Like me building this building that makes it so I can murder anybody I want.
That's the interesting part is I really wonder, I mean, maybe one day if we can time travel, like I'm sure someone will go back, but to me it never sounded like he did this like with this moral disdain to try and like kill for fun, or it really sounded like it was because the other thing is like he would, and I left this out because I just, there's so much other enjoyable stuff to talk about with him, but he was kind of like a ladies' man in a way, and his like one of his claim to fame is he would get a lot of women. He would like propose to a lot of women, and then they would go missing, so he could like file insurance claims on them.
Oh, that's smart.
And people don't know if that like they went missing because they wanted to be a part of the scam, or they went missing because he fucking killed them.
Both are so easily believable. The thing is that's really hard about this guy. Well, I was really excited to do it because I thought there was more into the hotel, because I think I really loved the American Horror Story season.
Yeah.
I really liked the intricateness of the hotel and how it was basically based off of it, Holmes. So that's why I was like, oof, 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 oof. I want to watch it. Or I want to do him. But honestly, there's so many. You can only have conspiracy theories and theories.
Yeah.
Because the thing is, it was so long ago. There's no way to do DNA tests. There's no way to do anything, especially since the house burned down.
Really, the only things that we can 100% say are true are what were reports made by the police officers and people who potentially got scammed by them. And I mean, we want to take the police records for truth, right? So like he did get killed for his actions.
Yeah.
They hung him. That's 100% accurate. He did kill Benjamin Patil.
Yeah.
That's 100% fact. And he probably did kill his kids to claim insurance or something like that. And we know for a fact he was a scam artist. And we know for a fact that the crematorium murder thing happened. Yeah. Aside from that, like numbers and like his emotions and his feelings, we have no idea.
No idea. No idea. There's just nothing on him, to be honest. But the thing is, I want to do an episode separate that's not on any serial killers, but like I want to do like a talk, like an idea, like just like a spitballing, like let's just chit chat about crime, kind of podcast, like one of those episodes, because I really want to talk about what makes a serial killer notorious versus not, like what makes him not notorious. Because like why is Ed Holmes H.H. Holmes. Fuck. H.H. Holmes notorious. I'm pretty sure if you look on our other podcast, we're going to have some true crime fans that are like, who the fuck are they talking about? Ed Holmes?
Oh, I'm sure we've said Ed Holmes every single time.
Because I think we've been wanting to do H.H. Holmes since like kind of the beginning.
Yeah, he was definitely always on the radar.
He was always on the radar, but there was always something bigger and better coming up. Well, also too, like a lot of true crime things happened this last year or two. Last year. Oh, this almost 2 years, Wes.
Yeah.
Congrats.
Yeah.
Shouts out.
Thanks
to everyone watching. But, but yeah, no, I want to do like an episode of just like what makes a murderer, what
true crime mentality,
just true crime fun talk. Because the thing is, we could talk all day about killers and things like that, but I really like talking about
the mentality,
and like why does heinousness make a serial killer more notorious than another, and like kind of comparing and contrasting. Like I really want to talk about that.
Yeah, like why is Gacy so popular, but like I'm sure there's people who have either killed more or who have potentially like sexually assaulted more. So what brought Gacy to stand out over others?
Yeah, and like some people don't even know about Gacy. Like when we did Gacy, I was talking to people. Was I seeing anybody? No, I think I was seeing someone later, and then I brought up, oh, we did Gacy, and they're like, who's Gacy? And I was like, the fuck you mean who's Gacy? Who are you?
I really think that it's funny because I've had this conversation recently with other people. Like, if people aren't involved in true crime, they really don't know anything about it.
No, they might only know like the I think of like the 3 tiers. You have your Dahmer, you have your Bundy, and then you have what I thought was Gacy, but like I think it's like the only 2 like notorious everybody knows about is Dahmer and Bundy.
And Bundy.
Yeah. I think those 2 are what everyone knows, mostly because I think Dahmer was because he would 8 people.
Yeah,
that was so mind fucking to everybody. And then with Bundy, it's because it's fucking Bundy. Watch our last episode.
And Bundy really did get into like mass media. And then I think like I like your tier list. I put those 2 at tier 3, and then like tier 2 is like Kemper, Gacy, like other very notorious ones who true crime fans know like by name and face.
Yeah. Because how I also gauge it too is when I talked to my dad about true crime. Because the thing is, my dad was alive during entirely all of that. He remembers. The thing that's like wild is like that's why I kind of want to like start talking to my dad more about it so I could get like his. That's why every podcast I'm like, so what's your opinion on this guy? And he's like, they're terrible. And I'm like, okay, maybe not opinion, but like, do you have any stories or anything like that? What time is your dinner?
Oh, 5:30. We're good.
Oh, okay. But I really like because like I remember when we started this and I was like, oh, our first person is Gacy. I remember my dad being like, oh, Gacy, because he remembers Gacy, especially because when Gacy got caught, he was a little boy that could have been Gacy's victims kind of idea. Scary. Well, he wasn't in the area, but it's like that mentality of he remembers when Gacy got caught and like learning everything about that, like what happened with Gacy because it was nationwide news. He was like, it hit him a little bit more close to home because he was the victim. He would have been he could have been the victim.
Yeah.
He was the victim's profile. Yeah. The profile of what Gacy would have picked. So I really like talking to my dad about true crime, mostly because I'm like, do you remember when this happened? And then he's like, oh, dude, I remember this. And then like he always kind of give me like, he's like, I was there. I was here. Yeah.
And I think too, there's also like another tier of, you know, crime related things where it's locally famous, like Elizabeth Smart.
Yeah, Elizabeth Smart's definitely.
I don't know if the world really would remember her now.
Yeah,
but here in Utah, for sure, everyone knows exactly who that is. But if we were to go to Texas and be like, "Do you remember the Elizabeth Smart case?" I'm sure people would be like, "Sounds familiar."
Unless they were like true crime nerds,
or was like really into like the news.
Yeah, because like I think of it too a lot in the same way of like sorry. You know when someone messages but I feel like a lot of the people because there's a good one, true crime drunks, not drunks, that's us, crime junkies.
Yeah.
I like the Illinois ones. They always talk about. Wait, is there any Illinois? Where are they stationed again?
I don't remember.
I want to say it's not Illinois. Where was? Oh my God, Jim Jones. Where was he normally stationed at? Where did he do the most good stuff?
God, you put me on the spot.
Oh, I can't remember, but I know it's the same place. Indianapolis. No. Oh.
Let me pull up my research notes.
My research notes.
People's Church.
Bella just messaged me, or messaged the group, and was like, "Fuck, Mary, kill Martha Stewart, Billy Ray Cyrus, or Robert De Niro." But let's keep going. Where was People's Church?
Jim Jones.
He was a cult leader. Where did he start? It's where he would have probably had his first son and then adopted.
Yeah.
Somerset.
Oh.
Oh, goodness. It was before Brazil.
Yeah.
It was Indianapolis.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So, I think, no, I said Illinois. I'm pretty sure I said Illinois. Indianapolis is
in Illinois, though.
Is it in Illinois?
Yeah.
It's like in Illinois. Okay, but anyways, that general area, I think that's where crime junkies are at. I can't fucking remember. But there's some, like, smaller crimes, like, or murders that happen there that I'm like...
Well, what's interesting, too, is, like, have you watched Making a Murderer on Netflix?
I actually haven't.
Okay.
I know.
It's okay. No, you're fine. I think that it's so interesting because they took that guy's case.
Yeah.
Which, to, like, if you didn't watch that show, no one would ever have heard of it. Yeah. But it's so fascinating that it just captivated the audience.
Yeah.
And I really think that like that could almost be any crime case if you really look for them, which is an idea that I want to toss around with you off stream, that we should do something a little bit different one episode along with. Maybe what we can do is March can be non-serial killer episodes where we do like, you know, psychology of serial killers.
We could do our own March Madness.
Yeah. I like that.
That's cool.
I like that.
I like that. We could do it every week.
Yeah.
If we have time. I would like to do that. As a single woman.
Yeah.
March I have Madness. Nothing but to fucking obsess about crime.
I mean, I don't want to get the people who are listening excited, but I would be actually more than happy to do weekly episodes if we could swing the research.
I think so. I think we can too, because realistically, next week is Valentine's Day episode, so we are doing a back-to-back, mostly because it is Valentine's Day, and I think Lonely Hearts equals a lot of murder.
Yeah.
But then after that, there's the 20th, the 22nd, and then start of March Madness. So we could even start March Madness on the 27th. That would be 2 weeks. And then go on till the next 27th. And then that's a whole month of March Madness.
I'm down for that.
From 27th to the 27th. And that's 5 podcasts. Dude, that'd be fucking lit.
I
would love to do that.
So
all right. Down. Get excited, guys. Yeah. Get excited.
But yeah, I would love to do, like you said, like a psychology of serial killer, like trying to put our minds in, because we've done that like on some episodes where we're like, how would they have thought in that moment? It's difficult.
Yeah, and I mean, some of the well-known ones, they do have the psychology of them, and I would bring up their psychology of like what they were diagnosed with, and like how, well, especially a good example, like how they knew with Gacy he had multiple personality disorder, because then I went on about multiple personality disorder. Yeah. So that's the psychology of like also then figuring out lies. I love psychology. I was going to be a psychology major. Kind of wish I kept with it, but also I didn't want to do doctorates because that's the only way I was going to make fast facts.
Yeah, that's the problem with fields like that, is because for me too, I was like, God, that'd be so amazing. Like I love talking to people, and I would love to be like a psychiatrist. But the reality is, even though you should always get a career that you love and don't worry about the money, it's hard to live off of that for a lot of years.
Yeah, because it's like becoming a social worker, essentially. H.H. Book of Psychology. Psychopath Test. The book, The Psychopath Test.
I'm down for that. Sorry, I'll remember this over here a second.
Oh, you're good. I'll look it up on my phone. Because if I don't put it on my phone, I will not remember.
Oh, sorry, we weren't looking at chat. What's up? I didn't even realize who was chatting with us.
Music obsessed.
Shouts out.
Shouts out.
She's a super talented singer.
Hell yeah.
I keep telling people that, by the way. Keep making music.
Yeah, if you put in your, it's short and interesting. The psychopath test.
Damn, maybe that's something we can do on our psychology one, is like maybe we can take like some psych evals.
That would be so
and
fucking
see what
funny.
Comes back.
Oh, dude.
I'm kind of scared of that. I'm worried that like deep down I'm gonna take one of these tests and be like, hey, you should probably go talk to like a real doctor.
I like it because it says the psychopath test, a journey through the madness industry. I'm down to read that. That could be also like part of like, because this month we're doing Silver Linings Playbook for our book of the month, and then next month we don't have one, so maybe we could even do like a murder book.
That'd fit in with the March. We could tie in the podcast a little bit.
Yeah, do a little bit more March Madness.
Yep. I'm down. I'm so down for that. Have you started Silver Linings Playbook? I haven't. I'm waiting for my fucking credit to roll in.
Oh, when are we doing that one again?
20th? Next Saturday,
okay. I haven't started it yet, but the thing is I've already read it, but I'm going to reread it because it's such a fucking phenomenal book. But I've already seen the movie multiple times. I read the book twice. This will be my third time reading it.
I'm excited because I've never read the book, but I rate the movie in my top 25 for sure.
See, the thing is, I think I'm hoping the book doesn't take away from your love of the movie, because the thing is, that's just who I am. Want to know what kind of person I really am?
Let's hear it.
I started a few animes, and they're long animes, so I'm going to finish those animes. And then there's a bunch of short animes, and I've started 3 mangas. Yeah. I'm going to read all the mangas and watch the animes because I am 100% that bitch. That's like, I like to read the book before I watch the movie or TV show.
Well, guess what we're doing on another podcast? We're starting to take guests for Anime Allies. So, welcome.
I could be your manga expert.
Well, not to say that you couldn't be, but we have a manga expert. And when I say an expert...
I'm never going to compete.
I think he said that he's read probably over 1,000 manga.
That's totally fair. I just started. I've read manga in the past. I have not committed.
It's so funny to talk to him about it because like his whole life is so vested in manga and anime. Well, I don't want to say his whole life, but he's so vested in it. Like he'll probably read. He told me he's like on an average day I'll read 5 hours at least.
That's impressive.
Yeah.
That's just good for your mind in general.
Yeah.
But I mean,
fucking loves it.
If you guys ever want, like, if there's a certain episode you're gonna do and you know there's a manga with it and you need another manga person,
for sure,
I'll read it and watch the series.
Yeah, well,
I just need to know in advance of time because
that's we have similar formula as Read Between the Lines where we pick an anime to watch.
Yeah.
And then we review it and we shenanigans like Read Between the Lines and it works really well. But we're starting to have like. Guests on, like, we just added a new permanent member. Mm-hmm. Shouts out Andrew, great guy. Then last month's episode, the manga kid, his name is Manuel, he had his wife come on because they watched the anime together.
Aww.
And it was great, it was cute. And she almost had...
a baby on stream.
Yeah.
I think I remember that. I watched the first little bit, then you guys started talking about Naruto, and I was like, damn it, every time.
Oh, yeah, because you're watching it?
Yeah. The thing is, I'm not good with names, so you can talk about it all you want. Basically, what I do is I just tune everything out when I hear names.
Are you starting with original Naruto or Shippuden?
I'm starting at the beginning.
Yeah.
I'm committed. I'm almost done with season 2 of that one, but I fucked up. I fucked myself. I started at Hunter x Hunter, and I'm in love.
Yeah.
I fucking love Hunter x Hunter.
That's one that I need to start.
Oh, dude. Because, like... hopefully my boss doesn't see this, because we're technically not allowed. So when COVID happened, we had this new girl start, and me and her would actually like watch things. The thing is, we were at our desk for 9 hours a day with no breaks. So we would put on TV as a background so we could keep working 9 hours straight with no breaks.
Yeah.
For all 3 months of COVID, until my boss found out that she was watching something, and he's like, "Are you watching something?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm just watching a movie." And he's like, "Do you guys not get distracted?" And I was like, I mean, I thought I was being funny and like kind of like smoothing it like as in a way of I'm not watching it, I'm just listening to it. Because I was like, well, I'm just watching Star Wars. And he's like, you're watching Star Wars? And I was like, fuck, I ruined it for both of us. I'm so sorry. I shouldn't have said I was watching Star Wars because he knows how much I love Star Wars. But the thing is, I've seen Star Wars so many fucking times that I'm like,
I'll read you the whole fucking script if you want.
Yeah, like at this point, just like it doesn't matter what I'm watching. Like if I'm watching Star Wars, I am not really paying attention because I know every single line.
It's comfort.
It's a comfort thing, and I just like to listen to it. And also too, I want to get better at remembering like the prequels because there's so many things more that happened in the prequels. Especially this was before Mandalorian really brought back the Clone Wars. Headstrong, fucking fisting him in there in Star Wars world. But so I was just wanting to rewatch the prequels because I like the prequels, and I don't like. And I was just going to watch all of the Star Wars movies so I can get a refresher, so I can keep my brain on Star Wars. And then he was like, then he had to send an email to both of us and be like, TV's not allowed anymore. But, I mean, she still... Because the thing is, I also listen to audiobooks and podcasts the entire time. How is that not equally, if not more, distracting?
He doesn't care about that?
No.
Oh, well, then he's just dumb. Sorry,
It's because, like, the phone is there. Because you can look at your phone.
I don't know what you do for work, but I don't understand why that's a problem.
I literally do accounting at a desk for 8 hours a day.
So checking your phone, like, every couple minutes is a...
That's not even a problem. I'm on my phone so fucking much that's not a problem, but me watching a movie is a problem. Because if I'm watching a movie, I'm not playing on my phone, I'm working, to be fully honest. If I'm listening to a podcast or audiobook,
you're totally going to be more focused on that.
I'm going to be more focused on...
I agree.
And I'm going to be more focused on my phone because, like when I'm watching Hunter x Hunter on Hulu, when you scroll up on Hulu, you have to stop the show. Like with Netflix, it keeps a little like bubble, so you can continuously watch and listen to it. So like when I watch Naruto, I really got everything set up. So if I'm like working, I like normally put on Naruto or Hunter x Hunter. But the thing is, I know with Hunter x Hunter, I can't respond to people, so I normally watch Naruto at work because I can like respond to people, play on my phone, and watch Naruto at the same time. I'm gonna do that.
I'm gonna do that.
So recently, I've been watching a lot of anime.
Who do you like so far?
Out of Naruto? Out of like Sasuke, Naruto, and
Sakura. It's Kakashi Senpai for me. He is dad, so.
I don't know, because the thing is, I'm also bad with names. I'm really bad with names. So, like, that's why whenever I would watch your podcast, and, like, you guys are talking about Naruto, I'm, like, only half listening, because I'm, like, I still don't remember anybody's name. I still don't. I'm so bad at names. Like, I've also started reading and watching Jujutsu Kaisen. Fuck, dude.
Show's dope.
That's one of my now it's becoming, like, one of my favorite animes.
I think that'll be one of the longer form animes.
I think that was going to be, like, the next big thing. Is what everyone's saying. I loved it a lot. I binged the first 9 episodes in one sitting.
Are you going to dive into One Piece like everyone else?
I don't know if I care enough to. Mostly because, like, 1,000 episodes.
I keep trying, but I just am very unsuccessful at it because it's daunting to me.
The thing that's hard about it is like, even if I started it today and I finished it in 5 years and I was fully caught up and I was still currently watching the new episodes, if it's still going on by then, it probably will. I'm just like, I'm in no rush. The thing is, I'm so new to the anime world that I need to watch so many other ones so I can get in tune. Because I also started, because since I want to read the mangas and then watch the animes, I'm starting to read, I just got it today too. What is it called? Oh, The 7 Deadly Sins.
Yeah.
So I'm going to read that one first and Blue Exorcist first, and then watch the animes.
I love anime talk because it's so nice to finally see the world accepting anime.
Dude, yeah.
It used to not be. It used to be like,
you
watch anime?
I mean, even like 5 years ago, when I was in high school.
It was nerd shit.
That was like...
It's worse than nerd shit.
Yeah, it was worse. But, I mean, like, because the thing is, like, because, like, in high school, like, I mean, I didn't have anything against or for anime. I gave up on One Piece. Shirley still makes fun of me. That's fair. It's so fucking daunting.
Shirley still makes fun of you. Bring them. Tell them it's good.
It's good, but yeah, no, like, because I mean, I read all of Death Note.
Yeah.
I read all the Maximum Ride mangas.
Did you? I haven't read the Death Note manga, but did the ending disappoint you?
That was so many years ago. I think I was. I want to reread those as well because they were so fucking good. Because I remember my issue was I binged them all because I got them as a gift for my birthday present, but I didn't get the last fucking one.
Oh, that's fucked.
Yeah, they were like, well, to be fair, it was like actually funny enough. Because this was like before my junior year started. I was dating this guy and we broke up, and he still got me a birthday present. He got me a lot of the Death Notes.
Nice.
Because he was like, "Do you want?" Because he was getting me into comics, kind of. I was already into comics, but he was like helping guide me.
Sure.
It was more of me being like, "Oh no, what do I read?"
Yeah.
I knew what to read, but like I just didn't know where to start because there's so fucking many. And then he was like, "Death Note is fucking amazing," and then so he was basically like, you can either, he was like, so, because when we first started dating, I bought the first Death Note and, like, a Harley Quinn.
Yeah.
Before Harley Quinn was super cringe. Well...
She's pretty cringe.
Yeah. Before she became super cringe. She was, like, it was before,
Margaret Robbie?
Yeah. It was before Suicide Squad. Because I remember also reading all of Suicide Squad before Suicide Squad even came out.
Which could have been a dope series, but they just, I don't know what the problem was.
I don't either. But... Death Note was one of the ones that he gave, like, I bought, because we would go to the bookstore all the time, because we were both big nerds, and so I got Death Note, and I got the Harley Quinn, and he was like, like subtly on my birthday, he was like, "So what did you like more? Did you like the Death Note or did you like Harley Quinn?" And I was like, honestly, I fucking want to finish Death Note.
Yeah.
Harley Quinn could take me fucking years because there's so many backstories, side stories, side characters.
See, that's the one thing that I'm not versed in at all is comics. I've never dabbled into any of that world. Not that I don't want to, but it's just one of those things where it's like, I just don't know if I can. Like, I'm already involved in anime. You know, I'm already involved in, like, I don't game much anymore, but, like, I was in gaming. You know, now I'm doing, like, true crime on the side. Like, I just don't have
time.
Because it's one of those ones where, like, if you get involved in comics and you fall in love with it, next thing you know, you got 800 issues of just X-Men.
Yeah.
You know?
You have to read, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's how I finished. So I binged a lot of Death Note, the manga, and then I remember, because he bought me, like, the next two, I think. I can't remember. Because it was, like, the compilation book, so it wasn't this individual books. And I just didn't have the last one for the longest time, and I don't even remember, like, I know I finished it, I just, like, really can't remember the ending. I just remember also being like, God damn it, I waited this long. I remember being like, I waited this long, I should have just bought it that day.
Right.
But I think I was broke. Well, because I was, didn't have a car yet. Because I was 15 when we started dating. So then it was, like, soon after, like, I got my car and I got a job and I had my own money. Yeah. And then I bought it.
Adult money?
Adult money. And that was when it was OG Barnes & Noble right next to the Michaels, because I used to work at the Michaels. So I would just walk across the street to the Barnes & Noble all the time.
I'm still mad that they don't have a fucking Barnes & Noble in here anymore.
No, they moved it to Farmington, that exact location. Because,
I've been there. It's better, but
it
doesn't feel the same.
Yesterday, because I wanted to get some mangas, because I wasn't feeling really good yesterday, so I was planning on just staying home and being a bum. Basically, that kind of worked, but I fell asleep at 8, so it didn't even matter if I bought them or not. But I was like, I could either go to Sugar House, because where I work is by the airport, so I could have either gone to Sugar House or Farmington. Okay. And the idea of driving opposite ends of where my house is.
Yeah, that's not great.
And then having to go back to my house. I just didn't go. I just was like, fuck it.
The Sugar House one is awesome.
I like its 2 floors. Well, that's why I wanted to go there for the mangas, because
their manga section is ginormous.
It's fucking huge, and I know they have everything that I wanted, because my issue I ran into, because I was going to get like a couple different books, but I only could find first in the series. Because I really want to read Blue Exorcist. That's the next one on my list. I want to like binge read it so that I can binge watch it. Because I've just heard nothing but great things about that one. And, like, I read, like, the first part of the manga, and I was like, nope.
Do you want to take my recommendation that not many people have watched and it will absolutely devastate you as a human being?
Yes.
Like, it's not a action or anything like that.
Yeah.
Clannad. And then you have to watch Clannad After Story.
Oh. Alright, I'll put that. Is that a anime?
Yeah.
I'll read that or watch it.
Good luck.
Oh no.
Good luck.
Oh god.
It's a slice of life one, and all I'm gonna say is watching After Story, it changed me as a human being, and now I don't feel pain. Oh. I don't know. People can emotionally hurt me now, and I'm just like, yeah, I've seen worse.
Yeah, I've seen worse. But anyways, guys, next week, Valentine's Day episode, it's gonna be lit.
And then we have Read Between the Lines on the 20th, so 2 weeks from now.
Yeah.
2 weeks from now, Silver Linings Playbook. And then
after that, we have the start of March Madness.
Yeah, the start of March Madness, where we will do 5 or 6 episodes in a row.
Yes. I'm so
It's going to be so good.
So good.
We'll talk about, we'll make sure to post on Instagram. Instagram is just True Crime Junks. What we will cover as far as content for that time.
Yeah, we'll do good. We'll keep you guys posted.
All right, well, thank you, Music Obsessed, for hanging out live. And then everyone who watches on the back end, you guys rock. Thank you very much. And we'll see you in the near future.
In the near future.
Bye.